Hi everyone, welcome back to At Home with the Homers. I hope you're all keeping very well. Today we're going to be talking about what to do when the Christmas decor is down, but it's not yet time for the spring decor to come up. Just kind of coming up with some ideas that I use in my house to create a peaceful, relaxing environment where you can kind of rest and recuperate after all of the Christmas chaos, but at the same time a space that is decorated and does have some things in it. If you are coming back, thank you very much. It's so lovely to see you again. And if this is your first time here, hello, a huge welcome. At Home with the Homers is my channel where I talk about lifestyle, family, decor, we do outings and all sorts. So if that sounds like something you think you might enjoy, it would be fantastic if you would think about subscribing. We're gonna have spring decor coming up. We're gonna have a lot of family occasions, a couple of DIYs. So it would be wonderful if you would stick around for that. In the meantime, if you haven't done so already, get yourselves comfy, get a drink, and let's get going. Okay, so around this time last year, I found I was really struggling with the way the house looked. Over Christmas, everything comes out, doesn't it? We've got colours, we've got textures, we've got lights, we've got, my mother-in-law has a little dog that looks just like Bones and dances to a little jig, it moves around and the kids love it. All of your senses are engaged over Christmas, even down to, the cooking kind of smells, everything is alive. And that is so wonderful and sort of so much fun. And it's perfect for the season, but absolutely when Christmas is over, me personally, I do feel like I need that palate cleanser of just not having all of that stuff all the time. So after Christmas, I pretty much will take down my decorations the day after Christmas, the day after Boxing Day, and just because Boxing Day you're tired. But yeah, the day after that, as much as I can, I will try and start getting it done, or at least in the days leading up to New Year's Eve. That's just me. Everybody does it different. Some people will leave it the 12 days, the traditional 12 days. Some people will leave it months. If that's your call, that's your time, that's your thing, whatever. But just me personally, needs to be gone. So, and that's great. But afterwards, all of a sudden, the house is very empty and very bare, and it feels more so even than it would have done before Christmas, because you're so used to having all of these different things up and around. So I had an issue where I think my brother-in-law Neil actually summed this up really well. He said in his house, this year, he's like, after they'd taken down the Christmas decorations, he could hear his voice reverberating off the walls. It's actually echoing because the house is so much emptier than it was. So, and I think that sums perfectly up what I was feeling, and I couldn't find anything really that looked like people were doing anything between Christmas and whatever. So me personally, I'm not really, other than Christmas and Halloween, obviously, I'm not really an occasion decorator. I'm more a seasonal decorator. So I'm a bit of a worshipper of the seasons, if you like. I'm a little bit of a hippie, I'm a bit spiritual. I cannot bring myself to put spring decor out when it's not spring. I like to try and appreciate the season that I am in and try and, for better or worse, be present in that season. So I won't put the spring decorations up until it is spring. So so it's like, well, what do you do? Because Christmas is done and really there aren't winter decorations as such, or at least I didn't think there were. But I started looking around, I did find a few things that were helpful, and I kind of eventually did come up with a system whereby I had a few things that I could decorate the house with, make sure the house still seemed warm, still had some colours in it and a little bit of texture, without actually just bidding off winter, because Christmas isn't all winter. In fact, actually it's really only kind of the middle of winter. You've still got a fair amount of it to go. So I still kind of wanted to have a little bit of a celebration of winter itself without keeping the Christmas theme going accidentally. So I'm going to walk you guys through my house and just tell you a little bit about what I've done. It's not a lot, because I do still feel like the house needs to breathe. It needs to have that kind of refresh and a reset. So it's very minimal, but it just means that the house does still look done and the things in it look deliberate. So yeah, I'm going to walk you guys through all my little bits and pieces, and just tell you a little bit about why I think it works and what you might be able to do in your homes if you felt like you wanted to do something similar. So since I started filming in the front room, it just made sense to carry on filming in the front room, chronologically speaking. So I'll start with my coffee table tray. I've still got the wicker ones that I had for Christmas. I do have one or two others, but this just fits really well with the theme, so no point bidding something out. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And if you've watched my videos before, you'll know that I tend to stick with my rule of 3. And I usually have a certain theme for each of the things in the tray. The reason for this is because, first of all, it's consistent and it creates cohesiveness around the house. But the other thing is, if you're like me, sometimes you get a little bit of artist's block. You know, creatively, it's hard to look at an empty tray and be like, what do I put in you? Remember, it happened to me for the tiered tray at Christmas. And what I like about knowing the 3 things that I like to put in there is it means I've got a template to work from. I don't have to try and think of something new every single time. I just have to change out the different items in the template. So I usually have something that's kind of planty or foliagey, something that I can set on fire because of fun, and then some books. So this time I've got this plant. This is a fake succulent, and I think it looks really quite real and I love it. And this was £3 from Poundland. All right. If you go into Poundland, last couple of years, I can't say because I did get this a couple of years ago, or last year, they had some fantastic stuff, especially if you go to some of their bigger shops. We have to go to the local city, really. Our local village one isn't up to much, but the one in the closest city is brilliant in Norwich. And they had loads of things like this. So I'll show you, there's a few more dotted around the house. For £3, I was absolutely chuffed to bits with that. This is like stone, you know, and it's got little rocks inside it, and it does look real. I think it does. I defy anyone. I don't know enough about plants and succulents to realize that's fake. That looks real to me. So I was very happy with that. My little burner actually was Auntie Sam's, but she didn't want it after we decorated the hall. So I was like, I'm gonna have that. I'm an opportunist. I'll save money. I will definitely use that. For my scents around the house, what I'm doing is I'm using up all of those winter scents. Not the Christmassy ones, for obvious reasons. It's not gingerbread anymore. I did actually have like an intervention at my office where people were like, Kelly, the gingerbread is too much. It's too much. We're having to open windows during meetings and in the winter. I was like, fine. So, but I'm using up my winter scent. So this is the Winter's Night that I got from Norwich Camping and Leisure. And it's the same one that I'm using all through the house. And a couple of candles as well, but I'll show you those in a minute. So yeah, that's my scent. And then very carefully, let's not burn ourselves in front of all these viewers. There we go. In my books, this is blue, so it doesn't technically fit with my colour scheme properly, but blue is a very close cousin of greens. So I'm kind of I just kind of love it. This was a gift from very, very lovely people. And I'm not going to name names, but you know who you are, thank you. And it's cute. It's gratitude, 1 line a day. And it's so me, because this is actually something that David, Levi and I do at dinner. When we have dinner, we, obviously just talk about our days and stuff, but we always make a point of saying, what's one thing that we're grateful for today? And that can literally be anything. Very often with Levi is the mashed potatoes. Because kid loves them with mashed potatoes, who doesn't? From having a home, or it's something nice a friend did today. So, and I've actually been using this every day, so it's actually functional for once. It's actually a functional book in the thing. I'll sit down and I will actually write in it. I'm just trying to get to the pages where you write the things. So there we go. On January the 2nd, I am grateful for the opportunity to have fresh starts. There you go. And then underneath it, because obviously we go from bigger to smaller, this book, look at that. I already love looking at this next to that plant because the colour scheme just works really, really well. I've said this before, but in case you've missed it, there are so many places you can pick up books for cheap or even free because people are just trying to get rid of them. So if you see books of various colours and you've got books, fill up your bookshelves with them. And then, you can pull them out for this. I actually bought this. This was a specific buy because it's the forager's calendar. So it tells you all about what different plants are available for foraging at different times of the year. This was something that David and I like, we haven't done it yet. It's one of those like, oh, let's go foraging. We booked to go on a course for our wedding anniversary about 2 years ago, a foraging course, but it got cancelled because of that crazy heat wave. So we were gutted. So we're going to look at doing that again this year. But so yeah, but it's quite cool because it tells you all the rules of like responsible foraging and things. So yeah, we've got that, plus that. God, it's so small that every part of it's hot, and that. And there you go. That looks really lovely and peaceful on my table. And that's all it needs, really. It's just a little bit of something to tie in the table. And as I said, it's useful as well because I'm using those books. On the sofa, you can see I've just added that mint green blanket to replace the silvery one for Christmas. And I've added some white cushions. I want to get a cushion for the middle, just to kind of tie it all in. I don't have one yet, but you know, I say this a lot. I'm still building up my decor, and I'm not in a rush. You know, every year I kind of get a few bits, but I might this year, once we've all recovered from the financial nightmare that is Christmas, I might look at getting a cushion for the middle of the sofa. At the moment, Bones kind of acts as like a nice extra cushion for that. So yeah, the sofa doesn't get an awful lot. As I said, it's all very much minimalist, but yeah, you can tell it's a different season now, and Bones loves him a cushion and a blanket to lie on. And on my windowsill, I have this thing. Now, this was given to me by my mother-in-law. She didn't make it. She makes a lot of stuff. She didn't make this. But I was just like this because it's just this empty cart, and I can change what I put in it. You know, I had some festive, I think I might have had those sprigs, those holly sprigs in it. And so for this season, I put ivy because I have it. We mentioned this before. I had it to kind of fill out some of those garlands. So I have this, and I just kind of put it in, partly because it's a nice versatile, it's long, it kind of hangs down. It again adds those different hues of greens that I want, but it is also now tied in with my Christmas decor. So again, it's a little bit of a transitional thing. It's not as big of a huge change or a huge shock. So I like to add a little bit of ivy in everywhere else. So there you go. Bones still gallantly making sure our neighbours don't come too close to the house. Thank you, Bones. So this surface here, this is Levi's bookshelf that we keep in the front room. It's just got sort of the children's books, and it's just for all the kids really if they come around, and you know, learning books and stuff like that. But on top of it, I kind of stick with my rule of three again. I've got the lamp, which is functional and decorative. It's pretty. I'm also burning at the moment Winter Night Stars from Yankee Candle, which it's a nice smell. It's not overbearing. It's not one I wouldn't write home about it, but it is lovely, and it's just simple. And again, it's a good palette cleanser, and it's just one of those wintry, non-Christmassy scents that I'm trying to use up. And then the album, this is where the albums sit, like the Christmas one, the Halloween one. This has now been changed out to one that is, again, just kind of a family one. This is one that David made, and I mean, I've made all of the other albums. They've all been scrapbook albums that I made myself, but I mean, don't tell him, but I think this one's my favourite. It does just look really pretty. And the greens tie in very nicely with the colour scheme. And this one's just kind of a compilation of sort of like Levi from me being pregnant to about age 4.5. That's why I'm pregnant in the picture. It's what it looks like I'm eating my husband on the beach. But still, it's nice. It's nice. So, yeah, so that's the transformative thing. Again, I know I say this a lot, but I do think it's worth kind of like giving it a go. Is just having things, that template that you can just change out, which just means that you're not spending loads of money every season, and you don't have to sort of think too much about it. That stand is always either there or somewhere in the house, and I always have some kind of an album that I can put on there. So it's changing, but it's also consistent, and as it doesn't take an awful lot of thought or money on my part. Over here on the mantelpiece, you can see I've got one of the candles. If you notice, I have two of these. I've got one that's bigger and one that's smaller. Sometimes they sit together, and sometimes they are separated depending on the need. But I've got my lovely garland, which is eucalyptus leaves. This is actually two of them, and they just meet together in the middle. So the middle looks a little bit thicker than the rest of it. But again, I didn't want this to be too big and bolshy like the Christmas garland. I just wanted it to add a little bit of green without looking overbearing or suffocating again, trying to go with that palette cleanser. And then I've got my oil burner going with that same Winter's Night scent, just, you know, trying to use them up. But luckily the colour is nice and neutral on top of it, and it does smell fantastic. It's literally just my absolute favourite scent. Over here on this is the adult bookshelf, if you like. So this is where underneath here, you can't see it, but these are just, you know, grown-up books. So David's therapy books and all that jazz, and my foraging books. So yeah, but I've got this. So this was another, I think it was Poundland. I want to say one of those Poundland ones. So it would have been a couple of pounds. It doesn't have the price on the bottom of it anymore. You should take them off. I don't always. It's handy when I'm making these videos. But yeah, so got this. This is eucalyptus stalks. And again, I am not into horticulture, so I don't know how realistic they would look to somebody who is. But to me, these look perfectly realistic. I don't mind it when you've got fake foliage and it looks fake. It's just, it doesn't work for my aesthetic. There are aesthetics that it suits beautifully for, but it doesn't work for me. So I do try and avoid them looking super fake. So this isn't like I say, it wouldn't fool a seasoned gardener, but I think without looking at it too closely, oh yeah, sure, that could be real, why not? And again, I think when you can get the ones that are in quite well made, you can hear that's not plastic sort of jars, I think that makes a massive difference as well. This bird cage, I love it. It just, the candle holder, super, it's versatile. I had little Christmas trees in it over Christmas. It's got candles in it again, but it just always looks very pretty and decorative. It's very unabrasive. I've got my books over here that again suit the colour scheme. The Homemade Apothecary, which I love. Folk Magic and Healing. This one comes out quite often because it just suits a whole bunch of different colour schemes because of the white and the gold. So that's there and there. And this usually lives on the bookshelf. This is a pack of questions. So I got this from the School of Life. So check out their website because they're quite good. I think it's like a therapy based thing. And they've got all sorts of different kits for different occasions. I'm not explaining it well, but I will link it down below. But this pack I got for David for Christmas a couple of years ago, and it's full of cards with questions which are for parents and kids. And the intention is that when you're having dinner, for example, it kind of teaches kids conversation. Well, it doesn't have to be having dinner, but we do use it at dinner. But it teaches kids conversational skills. So let's see, what's the first one we've got? Who is part of your family and why? So it's big open questions. So it gives kids the opportunity to think about it. Like, is it just the people who live in your house, or is it actually the people you're blood related to? Or actually, is it people who are not your blood relations, but they treat you like family? So it's questions that kids can answer, but adults can as well from their own perspectives. And yeah, I don't know, I really enjoy it. And the kids love it. They will quite often like say, oh, can we get the cards out? Because for us as a family, we think we try really hard to make sure that Levi has conversational skills, that he is involved at the table, primarily because it makes going out for dinner fun for him. If he can get involved in the conversation and actually be part of the group, then he will behave and sit well and eat well and have a good time. Whereas if kids kind of don't really know what to do, especially with Levi being an only child, then, you know, going out for dinner kind of sucks for him. So we don't have as much fun, he's not behaving. So yeah, and that works. Like I said, his cousins will often ask to have them as well. But yeah, I'll link the website down below. It's quite cool, and you can make that for free, to be fair. You can make that for free if you wanted to use it. But yeah, that works really well for us. Okay, so this is the dining table. I've taken away the tablecloth, I've taken away the centerpiece and all that jazz, and I've literally just brought it back to these kind of straw, are they straw? What are they? Someone's going to tell me what they are. They're going to be like, Kelly, it's this. I can't remember. Yeah, you know, these kind of rattan placemats, which match the trays. That wasn't deliberate, just rattan is quite popular, isn't it? And then I have got my Napkins with my homemade napkin reeves. I'll show you what I did with that in just a minute. And then the centerpiece I've just used, because I've got 6 of these mats, because we can take 6 at this table. We keep the other 2 chairs upstairs, upstairs in the loft, because we very rarely use them. But so I have got 6 of these. So this is now the centerpiece mat as well as the placemats. I've got the candle, who is the best friend of that other candle. I've got the twin brother of the other plant thing. Again, it's just a bit cohesive, but not keep them together. And this little succulent, look, I got this. Again, this from Poundland. I don't know how much it was. I can't remember. I'm thinking it must have been about £1, because that quite much bigger one was £3, £3.50-ish. So yeah, £1, £2. And look at that. Again, you wouldn't know. It's a good thing with succulents is you can kind of cover the fact that they're not real fairly easily. And again, the little jar is like a stone kind of thing, and it feels like it looks like it. The only issue with this one is the legs are a little bit, as they say in Norfolk, on the her. So it sits quite reliably on a hard flat surface. It doesn't love the mat. But if you get it right, it will stay there and it won't fall down. But every time I come home, I find that David has moved it. He's moved the mat because he doesn't like sitting there because he thinks it's going to fall. And he could be right, it might fall, but the mat is part of the centerpiece. So we leave the mat alone. But yeah, so that's it. Nice and simple, but I think it looks rustic. It looks deliberate. It looks like I've done something to it. But again, just not that kind of overbearing Christmassy stuff. So I'm going to show you what I did with my napkins on my table. Not that I don't think you could figure it out just from looking at it. Sometimes it's nice to be shown. So I have fabric napkins, mostly because they're very environmentally friendly. Obviously they're reusable. So I do think that's important. I do try and keep that in mind whenever I'm buying any of this stuff. It's very easy to buy a lot of sort of throwaway decor, and I really try to avoid that where I can. I always try and get things that I can reuse, and I sort of keep them either in the loft or in the garage so that I can swap them out. So these are always handy. I use them at Christmas. I use them when we have dinner guests, or I will put them on the table if I feel like it needs a little bit of extra something. So there you go. But I didn't have any napkin rings that were appropriate. I had Christmas ones. I've got pumpkin ones for autumn, but I don't really have any transitional ones. And I thought about getting wood ones, and I might yet do that later on. But at the moment, it's not a sensible option. So what I did is I literally got some parcel twine, because I thought, oh, do you know what? This will look kind of really cute and really rustic and just kind of simple. I've got parcel twine, and I have literally tied that round in a bow. And I don't know if you can tell from this pre-made example, I am no napkin wizard. I'm pretty sure brother-in-law Neil can make a swan with a napkin. I can't. There ain't gonna be no swans on my table. What I can make is a fan. Been making fans since school. So all I did was I got one of my napkins. I mean, you can iron yours. I obviously don't. In fairness, David actually does the ironing in the house. I would do it. I don't have any clothes really that need ironing. The very few items I do, bless his heart, he will iron for me. But I would learn, but like David doesn't want me to. He's got he's got a way of doing it. He's got a very specific way that he likes his shirts and everything ironed. And yeah, just quicker and easier for him to do it. So I don't tend to iron. I don't like ironing. If I can avoid ironing, I will. But luckily for me, this whole little system negates the need for ironing, because you can't see that it's got creases when it is deliberately creased into a fan shape. So yeah, making a fan, you just want to fold it over one way, in case you haven't done it before, you might not have done, and then flip the napkin and fold it over the other way, a little section about the same size. Keep doing that in your little zigzag pattern, fan pattern, until you run out of fabric and you have a nice neat little thing. And I'll put that down, I'm gonna leave it like that. And then I'm gonna get my twine, my parcel twine. I love this stuff. I regularly find uses for it. If you ever have to just tie something onto something, first of all, it's good, it's sturdy. But if you're like my aesthetic in the house is this kind of rustic, I don't know, I suppose she thinks she lives in a farmhouse, even though she obviously doesn't, kind of a vibe. And parcel twine just kind of really lends itself well to that. So anytime I have to tie something together, like a napkin, for example, I go to the parcel twine. While I'm pulling it out, I've folded it over here so there's a loop. and I'm going to cut it twice. I'm going to cut at the end of the loop and obviously at the end of the string still attached to the parcel twine. And the reason for this is when I tie it around, I'm going to be using 2 pieces of twine together. And I did try it just with the single piece and it really didn't look great. It just looked very kind of flimsy, like it didn't really want to be there. So when I doubled it up, that again was just super effective. Just made it look really, I don't know, a bit thicker, I guess. Okay, so once you've got your length of twine, you're going to wrap it around sort of the bottom end of your fan. Okay, I try to sort of have it so the fan sits in the middle of the twine and then wrap it around evenly. So then the 2 bits that I've got to work with are about the same length. But inevitably, it quite often doesn't go that way. It's just life. But yeah, the more times you do it, obviously the thicker the actual ring ends up looking. And much the same as having the 2 strings as opposed to 1. Turns out it's not the length, ladies, it's the thickness that counts. So it's most effective. So there we go. And then I'm literally, once I've got it, so I don't want it too short, I want to have a good length on either side left. I'm going to do a very standard bow, nothing super impressive. Okay, and then that's it done. And if these little long dangly bits are too long, you can just trim them to size. And there you go. Easy, took me minutes. Well happy with that. So we now find ourselves in the hallway, at my little hallway side. And in this one, I've got this jug, which I got from Amazon, I think many years ago, but this one I change out all the time. It's got different flowers in it. When I'm not using it, it lives in the garage. So not very fit. This is pampas grass and some other stuff. Again, if you're a bit more into foliage, then you'll know better than me. But this I love for this season. Perfect. I think I do use it a little bit in autumn as well, but it just adds such a lovely fluffy texture. So this is real, this is dried. I mean, I don't know if you undry it, but I've had this for 2 or 3 years. So, and it's still in really, really good nick. You see there's a couple of those different neutral colours in there. It looks really beautiful. I've also added some eucalyptus stalks to put in that green and keep the cohesion. But that looks lovely as a focal point when you first come into the house. I've also got this one. This is actually real and he hides when I'm not using it for decor. I do still look after it and love it very much, but I kind of tuck it into corners of windowsills. But this is his season. I don't have a white pot for this one. I am looking to get one, but I love this. It's quite a hardy plant as well, because I'm not great with plants. David does all our gardening and he's brilliant at it, but I'm not so much. But that's lovely. And then I've got, again, just a little white. This one was on the mirror during Christmas. Just a little white. So as soon as you come in, I can, as I'm talking, I can kind of see why I end up having an intervention at work. Maybe I do have these kind of scents going a bit sort of everywhere. But to be fair, I wouldn't usually like them all at once. I'm just, showing people around the house. It's got to be up to good scratch. But I assure you, I don't usually have them all. And then on the mirror, I've just put a little cactus. Again, this is actually a real one. In this was a candle holder. And I had a candle in it over Christmas and that burnt through, and I've just emptied it all out, repurposed it. So this has had 2 or 3 candles in it since I bought it. And now this is the home of Charlie the cactus. This is Levi's cactus. I'm borrowing it for the mirror, but I'm pretty sure he will steal it and put it back in his room at some point soon. But there we go. For now, this is where Charlie the cactus lives. So, and that's, again, just kind of ties in with that sort of succulent theme, and it just looks really, really pretty and simple on the mirror. And then over here, I've got, just taking you off the stand. Sometimes it's easier to use the stand, sometimes it isn't. My window frames I am absolutely obsessed with, and I did remember these are the wreaths that they actually came with. So again, eucalyptus with a little white flower in them, just nice and cohesive all around the house, looking very pretty and very easy change. I love it. I'm finding that's my consistency, is just having things that I can swap out for different occasions. Take you now through to the kitchen, where I haven't done an awful lot. There's the stand. I haven't done an awful lot in here at all. Just again, because I don't want it to be super overbearing. But I was very proud of myself because what I've done is I've utilised, because obviously, you know, after Christmas, it's the thing of where do I put all the stuff? Where do I put the stuff? So I've utilised. David got quite a few kitchen-y bits. He got this fabulous cocktail making kit because he makes me all my cocktails. Look, it spins. Oh God, did I just break it? Oh no, got caught with something. So that is just standing proudly on top of the microwave. And then I've got more ivy that kind of overflowing from a jar, just an empty jar on the windowsill. And then up on the windowsill up here, he also got this pestle. Don't look at the washing up. He also got this pestle, which again, just simple and, you know, looks decorative, looks solid. So I've just put it up there. So it's got a home and it's got a job. So yeah, there you go. So, but that's it in the kitchen. I haven't done an awful lot. Same as the bathroom. I'm not even going to bother going through the bathroom because that's pretty much got nothing in it. In Levi's room, he doesn't really have a decor theme at the moment. It's just kind of back to reality. But we've done his bed up with Pokemon. So he's got his, I got that cushion like £2 from Tesco's because it was like, no, Asda, because I found it and it didn't have a tag. And they were like, oh God, this is like really old. I don't know why this is still here. I'm like, oh, well. And they were like, I mean, £2. I was like, £2 seems fair to me. So they banged that label on it. Yes. And these are little toys that he's had from over the years. And then up here is his dad's pride and joy. The display is now a He-Man display. So he got a whole bunch of new He-Man toys for Christmas. He had Castle Grayskull already, and now he has Snake Mountain. And I will insert in here a clip because what they do is they get all the figures out and they light it up, and it does look, to be fair, I don't have anything to do with this. This is all the boys. They have really, as I said, I'll put some footage in here of what it looks like when they sort of do it all up, but it actually does look really amazing. So yeah, fair play to them. They can have that until spring and Easter rolls around. That's now their territory. And this bedroom, I love the bedroom scape. I love it. I love it at this time of year. So you can see up the top, I've just got a very small wreath, which is funny because at Christmas I was like, you know, go big or go home. But actually for this, it was just perfect. Just simple and light, keeping in with that eucalyptus and the pampas grass, and then coming down. So I've got my cushion selection here, just for different sizes. All these cushions, except for this rectangle one, all of these were actually in the bedroom. I've just changed the covers. Again, so I'm not buying new cushions. I just keep covers in one of those zippy Hoover bags up in the loft, and they're sort of organised by season. But I love this because again, it's a neutral palette. It's quite textured. It's got little tassels. The green one is quite textured as well, actually. It's got buttons. Again, neutral and texture. So that's kind of what I've gone for, is less colour but just more textures in that. My bed tray, I've got my pampas grass and eucalyptus, which sort of is trying to tie in a bit with the hallway. I've got a couple of crystals as my sort of filler, so just these kind of pale and green crystals. I've got my candle, which was burning in here all through Christmas. I mean, not up until this second, like just on and off. Like I haven't literally had that candle burning since Christmas. I've got this pretty sort of little notebook, and I think that's like a herbal book under there. So again, just keeping with that same thing, something, some kind of foliage, something that's on fire, and something to read. And the windowsill is very plain. This box, this is actually a tissue box. I got this from a car boot sale years ago, and I just fell in love with it because it's just so weird. I can't decide if I love it or I hate it, but I want to love it for that reason. It's really old. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Sometimes I put tissues in it. I will do. Like, this is actually something I get out for spring usually, but I thought I'm going to try and just, you know, get something on there. And I've draped all these pearls. They're not expensive. These are literally like just fake ones. I have like one of my jewelry drawers, and this is my jewelry box, and inside here this is all just the kids jewelry. So when they want jewelry for their dress up, because they were taking mine to play with, so I just went to a charity shop and was like, here's £3, give me a bag of all your stuff that you don't want. And yeah, so this actually usually lives in there. But sometimes I will use a bit of jewellery and decor on the trays. They go back in, so they know they can just take that tray out and that's theirs. So yeah, this was a decorative hair thing that I wore when I was a bridesmaid at my friend Lauren's wedding. So I have such lovely connotations with that. So yeah, I just thought the pearls on there looked quite pretty. I spent birthday money on this lamp and I have absolutely zero regrets, because it's just, I have a yellow lamp, a pink lamp for spring, and sort of that's it. So I should have had the white one for Christmas, because I think I just got rid of the yellow lamp. I didn't have a lamp in here, so I now have a white one for these kind of Christmas or in between seasons. And it was again £6 from B&M, so it didn't cost much. But yeah, nice and simple. And then over on the TV I have this candle, and I got this from Sainsbury's Home, and it's a Christmas one, because if I turn it around, you see it says tidings of comfort and joy, but it smells like those winter night ones that I got from Norwich Camping and Leisure, but it's really strong. As you can see, it's like a 3-wick candle. So yeah, I was like, oh, I love it. So I'm just going to turn it around, and there you go. It's not a Christmas candle anymore. It's just a lovely neutral candle, and it smells amazing. So yeah, that is the bedroom. And Bones enjoying all my cushions as always. And that is it for my post-Christmas home tour. I hope you enjoyed this video today. If you did, it would be wonderful if you would give us a like, and amazing if you would think about subscribing to join our community. We're going to have a lot more videos coming up, talking about decor, talking about days in the life, and then spring is not far away, spring and Easter, so that will be coming up very shortly as well. But in the meantime, I hope you guys are having a wonderful start to your year, and I will see you again soon. Take care. The rabbit goes in the hole and under the fox and through the thickets.